that idea in the fourth quarter last night. He really wanted to gut it out and be there for the team. We're still able to be effective, but he paid the price for it this morning.
You said last night you wanted to take a look more at what was going on, particularly when the turnovers were popping up for you in the third quarter. Anything that you saw that was different from real time?
No, not necessarily. Three of them were unforced. And it is unusual for us to have that many turnovers. In the games that we've had that many turnovers, we haven't won any of those. But for the most part, to be fair, we've taken care of the basketball. It was at a key point in the game, the end of the third quarter where we just weren't efficient offensively. And then we were playing uphill the rest of the game. So it'll be focused tonight. This team actually forces turnovers more successfully, more often than Charlotte does. So we have to take care of it, handle the pressure, and make sure we're getting the ball where it needs to go and get the type of shots we want to get.
You're doing with the backcourt, again, as you noted today. There's a little bit of a change with Smart and Bradley.
Yeah.
What's the approach with dealing with, again, another dynamic guy that has a ball in his hands with this change?
Well, they're a very well-drilled, well-schooled, and a high-execution team. They know where they want to get the ball. Their bigs do a great job of getting the ball on dribble handoffs. They set solid screens, so their guards now have the ability to play in space. And usually their bigs are flaring, and we want to keep our bigs in the basket, so there's a little bit of a contradiction right there. They've had us, in uncomfortable situations because of that, so we have to do a better job of that tonight.
What are some of the differences between last year and this year with regards to how you've used Justice Winslow?
Not a whole lot different in terms of how, but it's more. Yeah, so his responsibility has grown, and that's natural. We have a much different team than last year. All the veteran guys, the majority of them at that position are gone. So we want to develop him in all the versatile ways that are his strengths, and that's where he's at his best, is when you use him in a lot of different areas. Right now, handling the ball, making decisions, playing him on the baseline, playing him as a cutter, as a screener, and defensively, we've asked him to guard 1 through 4 pretty much on a nightly basis.
Gerald Green has played well the last 3 games after not having played for a while.
Yeah.
Last year when you had him, you rode him when he had a hot hand? How did you use him last year?
Well, we loved Gerald. We had him. He has a great personality in the locker room. Every single day coming into work, he enjoys what he does, and that's infectious. And that's what he is. He's ignitable. That's what we used to say about him. So I'm sure he's going to play tonight. And now you see the other side of it. But we saw it before when he was in Phoenix, that even if he wasn't playing consistently, or regardless of how he was playing from one quarter to the next, he can get on a roll, and he can put points on the board very quickly.
One thing Brad said about Gerald is that he's engaged when he's not on the floor.
Yeah.
He's just into things.
Yep.
Did you notice that with him?
Yeah, we did. It's something that's very important to us as well. But Gerald embraced it while he was with us, and I think that's why places that he's been, teams have spoken highly about him. His teammates like him, his coaches have liked him, and I think that's probably the deepest form of respect around the league.
Spo, you have a team that's been remade like yours and kind of starting from lower than you were. Do you have to find new motivations? Do you have to be more positive? Do you have to change your personality approach at all when you're coaching young guys as opposed to last year?
Yeah, maybe. You'd have to ask the players if I'm different, but we're trying to develop this team and the players as much as possible. There's big ceilings with a lot of the guys, but we're all in the process every single day of getting this team better, developing. I'm invigorated by it, regardless of what the record is, that we're able to step back and look at perspective and look at big picture. Guys are getting better. The team's getting better. We're forming an identity that we're getting more consistent to. We haven't been able to close out games, and I think that's probably been the most frustrating thing. But in terms of defensive principles, defending at a high rate and learning how to win, learning how to make winning plays. You know, sometimes when you have veteran players, a lot of that is understood. When you have a team like this, it has to be developed, and that's an invigorating process. I feel very grateful that I have an opportunity to coach a team like this.
Pat's talked about sorry, go ahead, Gary.
So when you knew, some coaches, when they know the rebuild's coming and they coach, they say they just only want to coach for championships. And there's others who become, you said, motivated. When you thought in the back
No,
of your
one, we never used that word. I don't know. What did Pat use? What was the word he used?
Rebuild.
Did he use rebuild? Retool, maybe? Okay. Different world. I don't use the word rebuild. We're developing this team, and look, it's easy for me to step back and have perspective. I am humbled and absolutely grateful to be coaching in this profession. And I've been fortunate enough to be with the Miami Heat long enough to understand that we're always trying to put together a team that will compete for an NBA title. So I think this is my 22nd year with the Heat. We've been to the finals 5 times and 3 championships. So what about all those other years? There's a lot of other years that you're not winning it. You're not the last team, or you're not where you want to be. But ultimately, this is the profession that I'm grateful and humbled to be a part of it, and more importantly, to be a part of this organization that has those kind of expectations and standards every year. And so, whatever word you want to use, we've had to do it before several times, retool, rebuild, and we've done it quicker than most. That's because of the commitment to develop and build these standards.
When you see with Boston, they're in the 4th year of their, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
Does that kind of illustrate how difficult it is? Because they got a bunch of assets from Brooklyn, and they're the same thing trying to develop.
It's a competitive league,
Yeah.
and everybody wants to be that last team. But who has a coherent plan? Who's committed to that plan? Who's disciplined to that plan? When there's a lot of noise and not necessarily getting the results that you want. We're able to see great promise, hope, and progress with this team. And if you know anything about our organization, we have a plan. You can see from the outside, Boston had a plan, and they've methodically built that pretty consistently to an identity that they want. But it also shows you that getting to that final step is the hardest thing to do in this league.
When Pat says it's going to be quick, that's really kind of hard, isn't it? Because you can't just do it on your own. You need to have dance partners, and
hey, that's what I love about working for Pat in this organization, is working for somebody who believes in that type of vision, and with the track record that we've been able to do it. But it starts with a belief in having a visionary that's going to push that. Nothing's guaranteed, but being involved in that hunt is the most exhilarating thing.
All right, guys.
Okay, thank you.